Welcome to Market Movers. I'm Jim Uriel with Scott Martin.
Hi, Jim.
Okay, so in earnings season, we got through Bank Week, or getting through Bank Week,
yes.
But now the big one is Tech Week. We have Microsoft on the 23rd, Amazon on the 24th, Google on the 28th, Facebook on the 29th. Yeah. Is Tech Week still all it was cracked up to be?
I believe it is, Jim, for a lot of reasons. One, because they're very heavily cap-weighted companies in the major indexes that we follow, and also because those are the companies that are doing the best. I mean, if you look at top-line revenue, if you look at profits, it's all in the names that you mentioned.
Okay, now when we talk about the trade war and the tariffs, it particularly puts focus on tech, correct? Is this more important than normal?
It does, and that's actually an interesting kind of juxtaposition here, because it's going to be very curious to see how the tech companies report, certainly given the past quarter, but also what they say about this trade war and how it's impacting their business.
That. Before we dive into our trade discussion, I'd like to point out that these are examples, not recommendations or advice. Scott.
Yeah, Jim. So a lot of tech week ahead, or a lot of tech in tech week ahead, let's say. And just looking at the charts, I feel like there's just some toppiness in the ES, certainly, and in the NQ, which we're going to talk about today via a very interesting trade example I'd like to tell you about right now, Jim. So example today, I'm buying the end of month, so October 31st, a little spooky. Yes, I know, Jim. Settle down. It's an end of month put spread, 79.50, 75.50 put spread. Pretty wide for 70 ticks. Expires October 31st, as I mentioned. It risks 1,400 to make a potential 2,600. But you know my style, Jim. I don't like to pay for things in this market, so I'm actually going to sell a call in the NQ at 8,000 for, yes, the same amount of ticks, 70 ticks. So my cost to put on this trade is 0, and my risk, though, is getting short the market at 8,000 if the NQ breaks that level. I just think the NASDAQ is going to top out right about there, even after we get these maybe good earnings from Techland, and therefore that's how I'm paying for the put spread today for protection.
Okay, so it's like just getting short, except with zero cost, and you have 60 ticks to the upside you won't lose money until it goes above. But if everything with the bottom falls out, you don't have unlimited gains either. So it's a little bit. It's something that's going to need to be managed.
Something correct. It's going to be managed, and also the underlying is about 79.35 as they put this on. So we're already seeing some fill out of that put spread.
It's aggressive.
Initially.
It's aggressive, and you could be short at 8,000. But
correct.
as long as you're willing to take that risk, I'm not opposed to that.
Thanks.
I'm looking at it a different way. I'm looking at it using the micros again, and I'm going to be bullish because I've been bullish and it has been working. And I think the techs have been dogged a lot because of the trade war and because of the tariffs.
Agreed.
And I think they're probably going to surprise to the upside. So I like to stop in 79.65. If it trades up to there, I think that's a spot to stop in with a target of 81.40 on the upside.
Wow.
And a stop place below 78.65. It's the NASDAQ. It moves. And this is Tech Week, so that it risks $200 to make a potential 350. Thoughts?
Well, this is an interesting positioning because of the fact that you have those levels defined. I mean, that's the one thing I like about the micros. It allows you to step in at different levels. Obviously, the liquidity, the low cost commitment or capital commitment also helps you, I think, manage some of those levels even more if they change on you.
Sure. So in the next 2 weeks, is tech big enough to have us not talking about the trade war, or is that going to come up?
Jim, have you been paying attention to
I
this environment? Of course it's going to be trade war, but tech may take off a little bit of the focus for a little bit of a while, which will let the market kind of go back to, say, some fundamentals that it's been missing.
Thanks for joining us on Market Movers. I'm Jim Uriel, where we are helping to make you a better trader.